The knocker in the rain. I drive a truck for a living. Nothing glamorous, long hauls, quiet nights, and the kind of roads where cell signals vanish and the only company you have is the sound of the engine and whatever's rattling in the back. That night, I was halfway through a winding mountain pass in the Pacific Northwest. It was well past midnight, and the rain had been coming down for hours. A cold, angry kind of rain that makes the road slick and blinds your mirrors. I pulled over into a gravel turnout, the kind barely wider than the truck itself. My eyes were burning from exhaustion, so I killed the engine and let the cab go quiet, save for the tapping of rain on the roof. It was peaceful, in a way. For a while, I don't remember drifting off. But I woke up with a start. The windows were fogged, the night pitch black. The only light came from the dim green glow of the dash clock, 2:47 a.m. And then I heard it. Tap, 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 knuckles on glass. My breath caught. I leaned forward, wiping a patch of fog from the side window. Nothing. Just sheets of rain cascading down the glass, bending the dim outline of trees in the headlights. Tap, tap, tap. Louder this time. From the other side, I twisted around, peering over the sleeping area behind the driver's seat. The back window faced the dark stretch of trees, but something had smeared the inside glass with fog. I stared, and then, for a second, I swear I saw it. A face, pressed against the rear window. Pale, almost luminescent, no eyes, just smooth skin where the sockets should have been. Mouth slightly open, no expression, no movement, just there. I jerked around and turned the key. The truck roared to life. I didn't even check the mirrors. I threw it in gear and pulled back onto the road, tires spinning in wet gravel before finding traction. The rain seemed heavier now, louder, but even louder than the rain was the knocking. Bang, 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 from the back of the cab. I kept driving. I told myself it was the load shifting. Maybe something hadn't been strapped down right. Maybe I was overtired, imagining things. But the knocks weren't random. They were steady, rhythmic, like someone trying to get out. I turned the heat up, turned the radio on. Static. No station reached this far into the mountains. Bang, bang, bang. It didn't stop. My knuckles were white on the wheel. I wanted to pull over, to look, but some primal instinct screamed, "Don't stop. Don't look. Just drive." I don't know how long I drove. Maybe 20 minutes. Maybe an hour. The knocking stopped as suddenly as it had started. Silence, except for the rain and the engine. I finally pulled over again, this time in a small gas station lot. Closed, of course. No lights but the flickering neon, open, sign that buzzed against the window. Though the place was very much shut, I grabbed a flashlight and stepped out. The rain had thinned to a drizzle, but the air was thick, metallic, and cold. I walked around to the back of the cab. My boots crunched on gravel. My breath puffed in clouds. No one was there. The rear door was locked. No scratches, no handprints, no sign of anything, until I saw the back window. Fogged from the inside, I wiped it with my sleeve. There, in the condensation, drawn with a finger, 2 perfect circles where eyes should be. I didn't sleep the rest of the night. I sat in the cab, doors locked, lights on, no more knocking, no more face. But when I got home the next day, something was off. I backed into the warehouse, opened the cargo door, and one of the warehouse guys called out to me, "Hey man, you leave this in there on purpose?" I walked over. Lying in the corner of the empty cargo space was a single, waterlogged glove, child-sized, soaked through, and still warm. I told myself it had to be a prank, a weird coincidence. Maybe something fell in during a previous haul. But I checked my logs. This truck had been empty for days before I took it out. I still drive, but I don't take the mountain pass anymore. And I don't stop in the rain. Because sometimes, just sometimes, when the road is quiet and the air feels heavy, I swear I still hear it. Tap, 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 from the back window. I grew up in a small mountain village tucked between fog-covered ridges and thick pine forests, a place where secrets clung to the air like damp moss on stone. It was the kind of village where silence had weight, and every creak or rustle at night felt like it had a purpose. There was an old stone well at the far end of the village, cracked and covered in moss. Its wooden lid had rotted away decades ago, leaving the black circle of its mouth open like a warning. Parents warned us never to go near it at night. They said a woman had once fallen in. Long ago. Some said she jumped, others said she was pushed. But no one really knew, and no one cared to find out. The warning was always the same: never go near the well after dark. If you hear singing, walk away. Of course, when you're 12, warnings sound more like dares. It started on a cold, moonless night in late October. I had stayed out later than usual, playing with a friend until the fog rolled in heavier than we expected. My friend ran home, but I took the long path, the one that passed by the well. I don't know why I did it. Maybe I was curious. Maybe I just wanted to feel brave. As I passed it, I heard singing, soft, melodic, a woman's voice, barely louder than a whisper, rising from the well like mist. It wasn't just beautiful, it was inviting. Like the kind of lullaby you don't remember your mother singing, but still makes something inside you ache. I stopped. Every hair on my arms stood on end. But I couldn't move. I inched closer. The stones around the rim were slick with moss. I knelt and leaned forward just enough to see hair, long, black, and wet, floating just below the rim, slowly rising. I didn't wait to see the rest. I ran, faster than I ever had in my life. The sound of the song followed me, faint but persistent, like it clung to the wind itself. I burst through my front door and locked it behind me, panting and trembling. I told no one. But that night, as I lay in bed, heart still racing, I heard it again. The same song, barely audible, drifting through my window. My room is on the second floor. There's nothing outside that window but a narrow overhang. Still, the song was closer now. The next night, it was louder. It didn't come from outside. It came from the corner of my room. Dark, cold, still, but unmistakably there. I turned on every light. I checked every corner. Nothing. My parents thought I was making it up. Maybe because of Halloween. Maybe because I had an overactive imagination. They said to stop watching scary movies. But I hadn't been. The third night, I didn't sleep. I sat up in bed with the light on. I watched the corner. Hours passed in silence. I almost believed it was over. Then, at exactly 3:11 a.m., the bulb above me flickered and died. The corner grew darker. Shadows stretched, creeping along the floor like spilled ink. And then I heard it again. The song. Clear, soft, and somehow, closer. I felt the temperature drop. My breath came out in white puffs. I couldn't move. My limbs felt like stone. I don't know how long I sat there, frozen, eyes locked on the corner. When dawn came, the warmth returned. So did the light. That morning, I found water pooled beneath my bed. Not from a pipe, not from a leak, just a small, perfect circle of cold, stagnant water. I avoided my room the next day. I spent the evening downstairs. But at exactly 3:11 a.m., the old radio in the kitchen turned on by itself. The volume slowly increased, and underneath the static was the song. It wasn't a hallucination. I knew that now. I returned to the well in daylight. There was no hair, no voice, just stillness and shadow. I thought about filling it with rocks, covering it, doing something, but I couldn't even bring myself to touch it. It felt like it was watching me. That night, I slept with a knife under my pillow. At 3:11 a.m., the door to my room opened. No footsteps, no creaking floorboards, just the door, and the song, right beside my bed. I kept my eyes shut, my breathing shallow, but I felt the presence. The cold, the moisture in the air. The mattress dipped slightly, as if someone, or something, was kneeling on it. The singing stopped. There was silence. Then, drip, a single drop of water fell onto my cheek. I opened my eyes. There was nothing there. but the pillow next to me was soaked. I've tried to leave the village. Twice. Both times. The car broke down within a mile. Once. The engine caught fire. I don't think I'm allowed to leave. Now, every night at 3:11, the song plays. Sometimes from the radio. Sometimes from the vents. Sometimes from under the bed. I don't dare look anymore. I don't know what she wants. But I know what she is. She's the song in the silence. The cold in the dark. The voice from the deep. And she is patient. Some nights, I almost hum along. The cabin in the snow. I don't know why I'm writing this down. Maybe I just need to get it out. Maybe if I see the words, it'll feel more real. Maybe then, I can stop pretending I imagined it all. It started 4 nights ago. I was deep in the backwoods of Montana, up near the Canadian border. I'd been tracking a bull elk for almost 2 days when the snow started falling hard. By nightfall, it was a full-blown blizzard, whiteout conditions, howling winds, visibility near zero. I knew I wouldn't make it back to the truck. I needed shelter. That's when I saw it. Just a dark square barely visible through the snow. A cabin, old and worn, tucked in a grove of dead pine trees like it had been forgotten by time. The door wasn't locked. Inside, it smelled of rotting wood and mold. But it was dry. A stone fireplace, a broken table, and a single bed in the corner. Someone had lived there, once, long ago. The first night, I didn't sleep much. The wind kept slamming against the walls, moaning through the cracks like some wounded animal. I kept the fire going with whatever I could break apart, shelves, a chair, pieces of the table. By morning, the storm hadn't let up. I was stuck. My radio had no signal. My phone? Useless. That's when I saw them. Footprints. In the snow. A single line of them. Starting maybe 30 feet away. Leading straight toward the cabin. No return tracks. No animal prints. Just boot prints. Human. At first, I thought maybe someone else was lost in the storm. But there was no knock. No sound. No figure. Just the prints. And they stopped right outside the door. I opened it, scanned the trees. Nothing. Just wind and white. That night, I barricaded the door with the last of the firewood. Every creak of the cabin set my nerves on edge. I told myself it was just some other hiker. Maybe a trapper. But on the second morning, the prints were there again. This time, they started even closer. Just 10 feet from the door. Still no return tracks. Still no one. That night, something woke me. Not the wind. It was rhythmic. Crunch, crunch, crunch. Footsteps in snow. Slow, deliberate. I didn't move. I just lay there, heart hammering. The steps stopped right outside. Silence followed, so total. I could hear the blood rushing in my ears. Then, softly, tap, 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 on the window. I didn't look. I couldn't. At some point, I passed out. By morning, the window was frosted over, but in the corner of the glass, I could see a smudge. Like a handprint. The kind you'd make if your skin was ice cold. And there were footprints again. Just inches from the cabin now. Still only leading toward it. No sign of entry. I started losing track of time. I think it was the third night when I heard the knock. Not a tap this time. Not a polite anyone home kind of knock. Bang, bang, bang. 3 heavy hits against the door. The whole frame shook. I shouted. I don't even remember what. Probably something stupid like, "Go away." But there was no response. Just silence. Then, footsteps, inside the cabin. I swear to God, I heard them. Just one step. Then another. Floorboards creaking under weight. But the door was still barricaded. I held my breath, sat up in bed, looked around. Nothing. Then I looked down. There, on the wooden floor, just beside my bed, a single footprint, wet, melting. I grabbed my knife and didn't sleep again. This morning, No new prints outside. But the one inside? It was still there, still wet. I tried to leave. I really did. I opened the door, ready to make a break for it, but the storm had piled snow 6 feet high against it. I'm trapped. I don't know what's coming tonight. But it is coming. The firewood's gone. I burned the chair legs. Then the slats from under the bed. Now there's nothing left but the mattress and whatever's crawling closer every night. It doesn't want in. It's already here. Just now, I felt the weight shift on the bed. I didn't move. I can hear it breathing.